to talk about George Eliot as a critic. I've already looked at the novels of George Eliot in Module 1. We discussed her works like Adam Bede, Middlemarch, Mill on the Floss. In this particular audio lecture, I'm going to talk about her theories on literature. So we all know that George Eliot's real name was Marianne Evan, and she chose to have her writing published under a masculine pen name because she felt that the work by a male author would be taken more seriously by readers and by critics. In the audio in which I talked about her novels, I did not mention two things which I want to mention here. She translated two important works. Okay, the first one is David Strauss' work Life of Jesus. The translation appeared in 1846. David Strauss, S-T-R-A-U-S-S. S-T-R-A-U-S-S. David Strauss' controversial work Life of Jesus. And the second translation was of Ludwig Feuerbach, Essence of Christianity. Ludwig, L-U-D-W-I-G, Ludwig Feuerbach, F-E-U-E-R-B-A-C-H, F-E-U-E-R-B-A-C-H, Ludwig Feuerbach, Essence of Christianity. This was published in 1854. So these are two translations incorporated by George Eliot. In this audio, I shall be talking about two of her works. One is her preface to Adam Bede, in which she gave her aesthetic theory about what is realism. And the second work is an essay written by Eliot, which is called Silly Novels by Silly Novelist. Silly Novels by Lady Novelist. Okay, so this is an essay written by George Eliot. So let's first look at her aesthetic theory. In Adam Bede, she explains that as a novelist, she wishes to give a faithful account of men and things as they mirrored themselves in the mind. So the first principle she gives here is that artistic pursuit of truth is based on direct experience of the world. Okay, and she says that it is very difficult. But falsehood is also easy. Truth is always difficult. So what he says that as a novelist, her job is to pursue truth based on the direct experience of the world. Okay, when you give faithful account of men and things as you see them in the real life, you paint the same picture in the novel. That is what realism is all about. Second theory she gives is that reliance on one's own experience. She imagines the reader asking for the characters to be portrayed as unproblematically good or bad. She's saying that whenever I write a novel, all the readers, they keep on asking me that why don't you sketch characters who are either good or bad, who can either be admired or condemned at one glance. But on the other hand, she says that representation must be authentic, and she refuses to pander to the current prejudices and popular taste, because all the people, all the readers of that time when Eliot was writing, she said that all of them wanted me to make characters who are either good or bad, but I want to make real characters. A real character may have 10 good qualities but will also suffer from 3 bad qualities. You cannot say a man is perfect. Okay. The third theory she gives is acceptance of people as they are. She says that we should accept people in their actual imperfect state rather than holding them up to impossible ideals. So जो characters बनाए जाते हैं, we should accept them as imperfect. We should not think as if a character should match some impossible ideal. A man who is always truthful, such a character cannot be sketched, and therefore she says that we need to accept the characters as they are. The fourth theory that she gives in Adam Bede is her perception of beauty in ordinary things. She says that we need to see beauty in commonplace things. Just like Wordsworth said in Preface to Lyrical Ballad, that we need to look at the ordinary things, rustic life, and see beauty in those things. It's high time that we give away the ornamental ideas of beauty and we embrace the natural life and look at beauty in everyday commonplace objects. So she gave the aesthetic theory about realism in Adam Bede. Basically, she talked about 4 things. She said that we need to perceive beauty in ordinary things. We need to accept people as they are. We need to rely on our own experience rather than portraying characters as specifically good or bad. We need to refuse to pander to these current prejudices and make characters who are authentic. And finally, she says that we need to pursue truth based on our direct experience of the world. We need to give faithful representation of men and things as we find in the real life. Now we move on to the second work of George Eliot, which is a fabulous essay, Silly Novels by Lady Novelist. Silly Novels by Lady Novelist. This was published in the year 1856. The essay describes a particular sort of genre. Basically, Eliot in this work is criticizing novels written by female writers. Okay, she's saying that I find this genre very problematic. There are a few novels written by women in which narratives are unrealistic and highly preachy. So she says that I find that genre totally inappropriate. Eliot's disdain or Eliot's hatred was perhaps strongest for the novels which she calls as mind and millinery novels. Mind, M-I-N-D, mind, and millinery, M-I-L-L-I-N-E-R-Y. Mind and millinery novels. She says that in 19th century, millinery shops sold women's hat and style of the day. Basically, these are shops in which fancy hats are sold in the market. And these hats are extremely decorative and very impractical. Like, you cannot wear that hat always. This is a very fancy hat. Sometimes you can carry it with you, that's it. So Eliot says that likewise, the novels written by certain women writers, they are extremely overdressed and they have impractical plots. And she terms these novels as mind and millinery novels. And she says that they stick to a particular formula. In all the mind and millinery novels, you will find the same plot. There's a heroine who is a female lead and she's always impossibly beautiful. And she's very wealthy and bright and popular and virtuous. And she would of course have dozens of suitors. There would be a lot of rich, intelligent and morally upstanding men who would like to marry such a girl. And this woman, she would marry a wrong man at the first, but then there would be a change of events due to which she will allow herself to naturally become intelligent and she'll allow herself to educate, and by the end of the novel she is even more perfect than she began. So very typical pattern. बहुत ही सुंदर लड़की है, वो शादी करती है गलत आदमी से, and then she has to become independent, so she educates herself, and by the end of the novel she is more perfect than she was when she began. So Eliot lived in the era when women weren't taken very seriously and their worth was usually linked to men in their lives. Just like in India we have, like, women are never taken seriously. What are you? You are your husband's wife, that's it. Or you are the mother of your kids, that's it. So Eliot felt that these books gave the impression to people that women should not be educated, because even after educating, if you're writing such foolish novels, then it makes a question mark on your own ability to write. And that is why she said that many female novelists, they are very bored and wealthy women, and they wrote these works to impress their friends and family, to flaunt their limited knowledge, and to just show off how great writers they are. And Eliot says that these books are extremely unrealistic and These kinds of writing actually hurt the cause of education for women. There are only few women who are educated, and even those women are writing such, third grade works. So she said that all the people in the world, they'll start believing that women should never be educated, because even after receiving education, what they write is this crap. And that is why she says that it is important that females should start writing about mature themes. She says that no one has ever critiqued such novels, which she calls mind and millinery novels, because due to misogyny, due to double standards of the society, due to how females are not given their rights, people don't actually take these novels and critique them. And that is why she says that I have taken this job to critique these novels written by the women. Because male authors, when they write, their novels receive criticism. People come and tell what is good, what is bad, but when females are writing, no one is going to share their views, because they find that these novels are not even praiseworthy. They are not that great that they should be critiqued upon. And that is why she's saying that I thought of critiquing these novels. Okay, she keeps on saying this, that I hate the pompous language and the ridiculous plot which is used by these novelists while they are writing these silly novels. And then she says that, I would like to tell you what means to write a good work. She says that you need to use natural language and don't feel like preaching anything by writing. Okay, she says that I like a particular novel which is written very naturally and which is not preaching anybody anything. And that is why she says that if you want to prove your worth, then start writing such novels. Don't use flowery, unrealistic language. Research before you create a scene in which you've never been. If you're talking about a scene of a playground, then go to playground and see the playground with your naked eyes, and only then write that in your novel. Recognize that the real world isn't all roses. Just like in mind and millinery novels, you showcase a heroine who is extremely good and her life is a bed of roses. Eliot says that realize this fact that real world is not all roses, and a good novel doesn't have to be a happy one. It doesn't have to have a happy ending. So don't even think that if you're writing a novel, you need to give it a happy ending, because that is not how the real life works. So Eliot seems to be telling readers that if women took time to not only educate themselves, but to actually improve their work through genuine observation, by adding humor and passion in the novel, then men would take them more seriously. So as a feminist writer, she was advising the women of her century to take up themes which needs to be addressed. Don't stick to the mind and millinery novels, and don't compose novels which have a happy ending and in which the world is portrayed as a bed of roses. In June 2015, there was a question, the author of the essay Silly Novels by Lady Novelist is, and the correct answer is George Eliot. So remember, George Eliot is known not only for her fantastic novels, but also for two pieces of criticism. One is her aesthetic theory given in Adam Bede, and the second one is her essay Silly Novels by Lady Novelist. So that's it.